Hi, good day, sir. Our topic for today is about social process in learning. So, social process in learning is the process in which we can see social change in children or people around us in our social environment. So, the topics covered are, or the reporters are Famulagan, Filomeno, Garcia A, Garcia E.G., and Giyongon. The topics covered in social process and learning are semiotic mediation and internalization, communication in basic learning, principles that govern classroom communication, communication in teaching, communication in language, and basic communication skills. So, according to Lev Vygotsky, he examined that our social environments has big influence in learning process. He was born on Russia in 1896 in the middle class of a Jewish family, under the influence of Hegel and Marx. He argued that language is the main tool that promotes thinking and develops reasoning and supports cultural activities in life, in reading and writing. So, he is known also for the tools of mind, socio-historical approach to cognitive development, cultural historical theory, and zone of proximal development or CPD. Semiotic mediation, the appropriation and use of science as facet of psychological development. So, as I say a while ago, that according to Vygotsky, this language is a tool of social interaction or a psychological tool. So, Vygotsky believed that for children at birth have a number of initiate abilities called elementary mental functions, and like sensation, reactive attention, and associative memory. However, through the interacting with others, children develop non-complex cognitive abilities, so-called mental functions. So children socialize to their environment in the way that they can approach themselves. So according to Vygotsky, there are three processes in which children socialize in their environment. So first is the social speech. A child uses speech to control the behavior of others. So for example, the baby is crying. When the baby cries, he wants to get attention to his environment or to her mother or the one who is babysitting her. If he wants to drink milk, he wants to sleep, or probably when a child cries, the general thinking of to that action is the child is hungry. So next is the egocentric speech. Children often talk to themselves regardless of someone listening to them, and they talk loud or self-talk. So as we can observe to children or our siblings, so they will talk to themselves in which they while they are playing, they will talk to themselves. So third is inner speech. Children use inner speech to guide their behavior and thinking. Vygotsky believes that children, by voicing a personal dialogue to their self, in which it will guide their behavior and thinking. Next is internalization. It's directly associated with learning within the organism or business or recalling what has been learned. Internalization is different from memorization. Is probably the one you will understand on the lesson, or how you grasp the lesson, or what did you learn from that lesson. So I will give you to the next reporter.
Good evening, everyone. This is Josh Filomeno. So, today I will report communication and learning. So, communication requires language, and that language is socially negotiated, constructed, and shared. In the same way, language is arbitrary. So, communication and teaching. So, communication is a process which two or more people exchange ideas, information, facts, opinions, impression, feelings, thoughts, and emotion in any ways. And each gains common understanding of meaning. So, muna ang mostly first goal dyan sa mga maestra to gain understanding sa mga students. So, we do that through communication. So, 9 types of messages. What we mean to say, unsay gimean nimo, unsay message nimo sa student nimo. What we actually say, like honest communication, like walay kanang lies. So what the other person hears, so magkanang honghong ba ningana. Then what the other person thinks he hears, so kanang unsay madung sa ubang tao ba, what the other person understand from what he thinks he has heard. So as a teacher, nam siya tagan kay mga students, so mo ang mga messages makuha nimo, what the other person says. So unsay gistorya sa laing tao, what the other person actually says, magkanang unsay honest niya nga message. And what we think the other person says, like unsay expectation na to sa iyang gistorya, so what we understand from what we think. So like kanang yun sa to pagsabot sa iyang message or sa iyang pagstorya. So communication skills, the word we use at our own command. So we use communication skills to get our goals, like to learn, to get what we want. We negotiate with people, and that's important. That's basic human skills. 2 is encoding and decoding system. We use this system in order to provide understanding with aid of all language modalities. So kung sa pay ka ng mga language diya, we use basically encoding and decoding system, like kanang atong sabton kung sayang gipasabot kay nabi mga signs nga dili kanang dili bitaw kanang not kanang dili siya kanang what we think ba, kanang expectations ba. So lastly is non-verbal cues. So these are symbols and techniques we use in everyday communication activities. So as I said, the encoding and decoding system, like ang istorya sa tao di po napasabot, di siya honest pa. So we can observe through the non-verbal cues, which people like kanang mag-honest ilang body pero ilang mind kay kuanday kanang bakak nga full of lies. So that's it for my reporting. This is Josh Filomeno. Good evening.
My name is Eljor Garcia and I'm the next reporter. Paralinguistic are the aspect of spoken communication that do not involve words. They may add emphasis or shade of meaning to what people say. Example of paralinguistic: body language, gestures, facial expressions, tone, and pitch of voice. In the classroom, paralinguistic are extremely important as they can message completely. Tone and pitch of voice is commonly dealt with all language level, but a fuller consideration of paralinguistic. Kinesics is the study and interpretation of nonverbal communication related to the movement of any part of the body or the body as a whole. 4 types of kinesics. So first is gesture. Are woven into the fabric of our daily lives. We wave, point, beckon, and use our hands when we are arguing or speaking, animatedly expressing ourselves with gestures, often without thinking. Facial expressions. The human face is extremely expressive, able to express countless emotions without saying a word. We have facial expression when we are happy, sad, anger, surprise, and fear. Personal appearance. Personal appearance means that outward appearance of any person, especially in the speaking and representation area. Personal appearance refers to the way the audience, when their expectation of greatness, see and evaluate the way you look. Posture. Consider how your perception of people are affected by the way how they sit, the way how they walk, stand, or hold their head. The way you move and carrying yourselves communicates wealth of information to the world. Communication skills. First is language of haptics. is a study of touching as nonverbal communication. Touch can be defined as communication when we are shaking our hands, holding our hands, kissing, high five. Each of these give off nonverbal message as to the touching person. In proxemics is the study of human use of space and the effects that populates density has on behavior, communication, and social interaction. So we have four types of distance. So first is intimate distance. So intimate distance for embracing, touching. So distance ano niya is 16 centimeter, 15 centimeter, or 6 inches. Personal distance is for interaction among good friends or family members. So 46 to 47 centimeter or 1.5 to 2.5 feet. Social distance, the way we interact with other people. So, the way we make acquaintances. So 1.2 to 2.1 centimeter or 4 to 7 feet. So public distance. So this is our public speeches. So distance ano is 3.7 to 7.6 centimeter or 12 to 25 feet. Chronomics is the study of the use of time. In non-verbal communication, the way an individual will perceive and value time, structure our time, and react to time is a powerful communication tool and helps set the stage for the communication process. Ways that we use our time to communicate information about ourselves and our feelings. So by interest and affection, power and status, activities. Example of this when someone's calling you. Next is intellectual skills. We use these skills to aid our perception, memorization, judgment, abstraction, language facilities, reasoning, and problem solving. Attitude, ourselves, the way we look at ourselves, and the manner through which we deliver a message reveal our attitudes. Others, the way we look at others has also its impact on communication. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Jaira Mingoyan, and I will discuss the next slide. Okay, the subject. It deals with the message we want others to receive. So when we say the subject, like karon, nagrelay ko message nga angay ninyong mahibawan or makatunan to have an effective communication. Next is the receiver. The receiver is one who decodes the message. So, naghatag man kog information ninyo. So, kamo ang nag-receive sa akong ipansulti karon or nag-decode or nag-interpret. So, kamo akong audience or the receiver. So, in communication process, the receiver is the listener, reader, or observer to whom a message is directed. So, the observer is the individual or the group of individuals to whom a message is directed. Next is learning. Our attitudes towards learning affect our communication and teaching, also creating meaning on the part of the learners in order to provide autonomy and ownership of learning. So, communication is key on the classroom. So, successful learning is generally considered to require only 50% knowledge to 50% communication skills. So, as a result, a teacher should be proficient in all four modes of communication in a classroom. So like listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and should know how to utilize this proficiency effectively in school environment. So being able to do this has been proven to impact the success students achieve in their academic lives as well as the teachers' own career success. So like learning and teaching. So communication skills are most vital for interaction with students because the act of teaching itself requires them. In a role, you are responsible for comprehending and breaking down complex information, like conveying this information clearly to your students, both verbally and written resources, and presenting in a manner that sustains their attention, and listening to and resolving their questions or problems. You're also required to adapt content for different learning styles, motivate students to learn, build supportive relationship using encouragement and empathy, manage the classroom and give feedback, making your classroom a safe and supportive learning environment. And all of these things require good communication skills. Next slide, the knowledge base. The amount of knowledge about specific lesson affects the intended message. When we say knowledge base, schooling puts the emphasis of early education on teaching and learning, enabling core of broadly shared knowledge, enabling because it builds strong foundation for later learning and open doors for effective participation and mutual understanding in the wider society. So, no two people share exactly the same knowledge, but most people in a literate society know a great deal in common. In part, it is commonly shared knowledge that allows us to communicate. When we communicate, we assume that our audience knows certain things that we know, not just the definitions of the words we're speaking or writing, but a whole range of unspoken meanings and associations. On this, children can advance educationally only when they have the expected prior knowledge, and they can become better readers only by building extensive knowledge of the world. They can become effective members of the wider society only by sharing the knowledge taken for granted by literate writers and speakers in that society. Slide is social cultural system. So it refers to the use of words in communication in various contexts. So when we say social cultural system is a physical and or theoretical cult structure where humans interact in society using their culture. So social cultural system are the building blocks of society. So they are structure for where humans share or social experiences, culture, which can help or can then be learned from used to their advantage in order to better their society. So stemming from an anthropological background, there are countless examples of humans bettering their society through social cultural systems. Some of the major systems that are leading society are religion, education, politics, and law. So next slide, communication and language. So it is a form of empowerment. It is so powerful because it has the ability to tell, suggest, recognize, verify, signify, attest, simplify, rectify, influence, observe, and analyze, and reflect. And we do not just see the words woven together in an utter isolation from the contextual meaning. So when we say communication, so it is a way of interchanging messages or information between two or more people. It is focusing on the message. So language also is a system of communication that relies on verbal or nonverbal codes to transfer information. So language is a tool of communication, and communication is a process of transferring messages. So language is a communication tool used by everyone in their daily life, like kita tanan, as a means to convey information and arguments to others. In this case, the language cannot be separated from culture because language represents its nation and has close relation to the attitudes or behaviors of groups of speakers of the languages. So, language is important in every aspect of our lives because it allows people to communicate in a manner that enables the sharing of common ideas. In short, language and communication skills include the ability to understand others, like example, receptive language, and express oneself, or expressive language, using words, gestures, or facial expressions. So, children who develop strong language and communication skills are more likely to arrive at school ready to learn. Next slide is language. It's a system of communication with its own set of conventions or special words. So, as what I've said on the last slide, language is a system of communication that relies on verbal or nonverbal codes to transform information. So, language is a tool of communication, and language is a communication tool used by everyone in their daily life as a means to convey information and agreements to others. So, in this case, the language cannot be separated from culture because language represents its nation and has close relation to the attitude or behavior of groups of speakers of the language, like in the picture that has many different language that we can represent to our country. And one thing, language is important in every aspect of our lives because it allows people to communicate in a manner that enables the sharing of common ideas. Kung di ta magkiniusa, dili ta magkasinabtanay tanan. So dapat it is important to know our language, different language, so that we have to share common ideas.
Hello, good day. My name is Annalisa Garcia, and my part of the report, I'm going to tackle about functions of language. First, we have instrumental. Language is instrumental. It is used as a means to satisfy people's needs. Yes, language is instrumental. Okay, it is an instrument that we use in order for us to explain and make people understand what we are trying to imply. Next is we have regulatory. Language as regulatory function. It is used to control our behavior. Okay, let's say for example, since we have the language, regulatory. It has the power to control our behavior over how we use it, how we are going to express our language. Third, we have interactional. Language is used as a means of interaction, which the self and other people. It is used as the foundation of all human relationship. For example, me and you, we are having interactions. Okay, we are communicating. It is a form of human relationship. That is what we use interactional. Next is we have personal. It must be realized that there is a link between the language used and personal thoughts and feelings. Yes, me for example, since I have my own language, I can express, and I have the thoughts, and I can express the way how I feel it to myself personally. Next is we have imaginative. Imaginative, the use of imagination language is manifested in the way. For example, Alex reveals his creative imagination of the things around him. Okay, so we all can be imaginative, right? Like we have all the imaginations running around in our head, and it is so amazing that in language we can be imaginative. Next is informational. Language is informational is the sense that is used in communicating knowledge. Yes, language is an information. Okay, we have the language that we can use to to spread or to share the information. Okay, next is we have heuristic. Language provides only free expression, but also opportunities for investing and finding sounding evidence. Language is used in finding new ways of learning. Yes, language are language. It can be used to find ways that we can learn every day. To learn more every day. Next is we have characteristic of language. First, we have language is systematic. Language follows a definite pattern or rules that permit infinite modes of interactions. Second is language is arbitrary. This means that a certain words stand for a certain thing. Okay? Third, we have language is basically vocal. Language is based on speech sound produced by vocal cavities. Words are produced by combination of different sounds. Next is language is symbolic. Language uses symbols to represent things, objects, people, events, concepts, places, and categories. For example, in a nursery, or I mean in a preschool classroom. Okay, since they are learning, they since they are new to the learning classroom. We use pictures or objects for them to identify the words. Okay, the new words, what is in the picture. Next is we have language is infinite. Language develops his freedom to express his thoughts and feelings. It is language can really be it is infinite. Second is language is dynamic. Language develops and continue to grow. It is for example, we are learning every day. I mean the language, for example, uh, it can go every day. The more we communicate, the more we express our thoughts and our feelings. So that is a language. That is why it continues to grow every day, every single day. Next is language is social. Language is used an important tool or vehicle for any human interaction. Yes, language is social. Okay. Since let's for example, I'm gonna talk about English language. Okay, English language. We've been using this to interact with foreign people. Okay. In online, or the tourist. I mean the foreigner tourists coming in our country. Okay, we use English to communicate with them, right? So language is social. We are being social the way we use English to communicate with them. Next is language is unique. Language is something that human beings use and possess. Animals and lower forms of living creatures do not have the language. Okay, let's for example, in a circle of friends, me and my best friend, we have this unique language that we understand each other, that others and the rest of the circle of friends do not understand. So that is why language is unique, right? Okay, now here are a few examples of effective classroom communication techniques. Okay, assume the best from everyone. Okay, you have to be here. Someone has to be confident enough that everyone can be the best, right? Everyone is the best. Okay. Next is operate with the assumption that everyone has the student's best interest. Yes, always show that students has the best interest inside the classroom. Third, remember that effective communication is the key to having a suggestion and ideas heard and taken seriously. Yes, me as a future educator, I would be more communicative enough to listen and let my students hear in their side. Okay, so that they are free to communicate with me and express their thoughts inside the classroom. Keep positive attitude. Yes, if you keep positive attitude, positive vibe attracts more inside the classroom. Next is take time to say hello and listen to others as much as possible. Yes, it is always so polite to say hello or greet to each other. Okay, and as much as possible listen to and to listen, at least listen to them, listen to the students. Practice empathy and understanding. Put yourself in other person's shoes. Yes, this is very important. uh, it is always it is always so much good feeling, or such a great feeling of having to empathize, or to understand others so that they will understand you back, and putting your shoes in their shoes, that so that you are able to understand the situation they are in. Next is being polite is a symbol of being true to true to self. Oh yes, there being polite cost nothing. Okay, it is so easy to be polite. Just so easy just so easy to be good. Just do good. Encourage student to give their positive feedback. Yes, always encourage student to give their positive feedback on how they feel, towards the topic, or how would they give their thoughts after it. Next is fill the bulletin board with the positive comments about students' works and achievements. Yes, it is always. It's good. It would be effective as a learner to being acknowledged by a teacher on a bulletin board that yes, we achieved something, and that work is mine. Okay, so as a future educator, I would not forget to to give comments about my students' work and achievements inside the classroom. Okay, thank you for listening. That would be all. Thank you.